9 episodes in, and this is where we're at with SmackDown. I look at a show like this and I see no effort being made at all. I see just a complete lack of trying. The hottest thing that they've got going. I was just reading today that the biggest merchandise seller for them is the Fiend. And you will see that the Fiend popped up numerous times on this show, which is good that they did try to thread certain things on the show, to kind of finally give us some sort of story, but there's no story there. That's the thing. There is no story really to be had on this show. That's the thing. You really have to think, like, why are Bryan and the Fiend feuding? Why is this a thing? Is it simply because he attacked them backstage? I mean, I think that's basically what it is. There's not really a sense that they're doing, any type of real story here other than him challenging him for the title or something like that. There's nothing really there. So, you got quite a bit of Bray tonight. More of Bray than the Fiend. The Fiend came out at the end. But so let's dissect this show and see exactly what happened here, where they went wrong, like they always do. And this is the thing I have to say. There's no point in watching this on Fox. You guys saw that I went away for a few months, and there was no wrestling reviews at all. And that was because nothing was happening on the show. I said these reviews were becoming monotonous. There was nothing really to talk about. And that's exactly the case. And it still is the case. There's nothing to talk about on this show other than how bad it is, how lousy the promos are, how there's no storylines, how they're mistreating the entire roster. That's basically what we get every single week. And I said I'm tired of doing that. I'm tired of talking about that. I'd rather talk about other things on this channel. And it's getting to be the same thing. I mean, really, I'm saying the same thing practically every single week on here. We've got a bad show on our hands. They're not going anywhere with this. We're going from show to show, and there's no progression. And if you want proof of that, look no further than the first segment. Where is Roman Reigns and Baron Corbin going with this? Roman comes out. There's really no point to this promo. There's no point to this feud. There's no titles on the line. They've been feuding for a few months already. And I've said, a lot of people take shots at Corbin. They don't like Corbin. People go back to what Cena said about Corbin, even though that was something that he was basically told to say. Calling him a dumpster fire was a means of embarrassing him. But even before all that happened, I said that I like Corbin. I like the guy's size. I think when you take a look at like who's improved most on the mic, these two guys right here, Baron Corbin and Roman Reigns, you have to look at these guys and you have to give them credit, how far they have come. Now, of course, Roman Reigns is in a whole nother league than Baron Corbin. We're looking at a main eventer here, and they have fallen back so far on Roman Reigns. And I notice a lot of people are not even mentioning this because I know a lot of people don't like Reigns, but they listened to all the complaints, and they have pulled Roman Reigns back. And it's ridiculous that I'm looking at a guy like Roman Reigns, a guy that looks like Roman Reigns, a guy that puts forth the quality of a Roman Reigns, and I'm seeing him in this position, opening the show in a pointless feud. Baron Corbin's telling him on Thanksgiving he ate dog food. Well, just because he's the big dog, I hate that this is like being taken so literally. Like now we have to keep making 1,000 different, dog jokes and everything like that. Like dressing people up in costumes. Do we really need to go this far? It wasn't funny the first time when they did the Titantron CGI video of having the dog bark like a chihuahua. It wasn't funny when we had the mascot guy come out in the costume. And, here they pulled back on it even more. No costumes, no chihuahua barking. But it's still a cringy line. These guys are capable of so much more. And here we have a match. It's Robert Roode and Roman Reigns. And Roman hits him with the spear. Here's another guy, Bobby Roode, Robert Roode, where they have no idea what to do with this guy. It's really, a perplexing mystery. What do you do with a guy like with Robert Roode, right? Mic skills, in-ring skills. This guy's already a veteran. He's one of the few guys who, doesn't do all the flipping around and the no-selling. Like, this is like a classic wrestler, a traditional style wrestler. They should be happy to have someone like this on the roster, someone that other people can learn from. But, no, just basically have him job out here in a meaningless match. They try to make, this is a brutal spot at the end where, Bobby Roode goes for the scepter shot. He takes Corbin's scepter, tries to hit him in the head, on the chair. And, this is like a vicious thing. Bobby Roode says he's going to send him home for the holidays. And, he's just doing it for Corbin. So, why is Corbin? Because he's the king. Is this, I'm kind of getting that, a vibe like they're trying to do Booker T when he had Finlay and William Regal working for him. It's kind of the king's court. So they're kind of going for something there. Ziggler and Bobby Roode, two talented guys, two, veterans. So that's kind of what they're doing there. But it's not working. No one is really getting over. And it's funny because really Finlay and Booker T, when Booker T had Finlay and William Regal in these roles, they were just subservient. They really weren't getting over at the time. They were just lackeys. So I'm not really seeing how this is helping really. If it didn't work in the past, it's not going to work for these guys now. I mean, you've got guys that are world champion material here. Guys that they drop the ball with, and you're just, plastering them to Corbin. And then they're going to wonder why none of this gets over, why people are bored with the show, they're tuning out. Then Roman Reigns, does the most overused spot in WWE, and I've talked about this a number of times, spearing Bobby Roode through the barricade. Or in this, the barricade where the timekeeper's table is. This is a spot that they've done 1,001 times. And it's overdone. Then you've got Roman Reigns pushing the table on top of Bobby Roode, which didn't even look good. That spot, they've done this before, and it does not look good. Everyone can tell that table doesn't weigh anything. You're able to fool people with the steel steps. That at least looks good that guys, could try to sell that those things are heavy. But with this table, it's a hollow table. We've all seen what it looks like on the other side. There's nothing underneath it, so we know it doesn't weigh a ton like Michael Cole exclaims, during this segment. So there's no point in doing this. And I don't understand why Roman is going so in on Bobby Roode here. Is it worth it to really just destroy this guy for no reason? I know he tried to hit him in the head with the scepter, but I don't know. I was this is a bit much, is it not? Then we have Bray Wyatt, and he introduces the new title. And I have to say, guys, I'm not a big fan of this design. They did a mock-up a few weeks ago before they revealed the new Universal title that it's blue. And people are saying how bad this belt looks. It really doesn't look that bad. It looks a lot better in blue than it does in red. I don't know. I think people are being a little bit overboard. But this title is ugly. And I see they're selling a replica of this title for $6,500. Okay, no one's paying $6,500 for this title. And it looks really ugly. It's just Bray's face on there and nothing else, like the Fiend's face, rather. That's all it is. And it's like circular because they're, trying to make it look like a belt at the same time. But the mock-up that they had previously looks so much better. Why they would go with this look for the title is beyond me. But some people are saying it looks cool. I think it looks hideous. And maybe that's the point. They want it to look bad. But can it look cool? Can it at least have an attractive quality to it? Because the other one did. But here they just they dropped the ball just putting the guy's face on it. It doesn't look good. We've got Sheamus returning in a vignette. Sheamus has actually gone back to his old look with the spiky hair, which I prefer this look. I wasn't a big fan of the mohawk look. I don't think it was as horrible as a lot of people had said over the years that but he looks better with this look. Finally, he's not in the tag team. I mean, I don't think people realize that Sheamus and Cesaro have been in this tag team for way too long. I mean, I like them as a team, but let's remember that they put these guys as a team because they couldn't figure out what to do with them in the first place. So they had these guys just wallowing away in the mid-card. I got a feeling we're probably gonna have Sheamus doing the same exact thing, wallowing away in the mid card. Before that team with Cesaro, he was basically just picking on smaller guys. He was having a feud with Dolph Ziggler. It was going nowhere. This is a guy that had a match with Triple H at WrestleMania. He beat Cena in his first ever, WWE title match. So, this guy has some accolades. But, hopefully that they can recover Sheamus, bring him back to where he was originally. But I don't know. I'm not getting my hopes up. I am a Sheamus fan. I like Sheamus. I don't think anyone has worked harder on their physique. Like someone that was already in shape, and then you have Sheamus just pushing it to the absolute next level. So Sheamus, enjoys, he deserves to have all the respect in the world for that. But I mean, WWE, I think their ship has sailed on Sheamus long ago. They've got too many guys on this roster that they don't know what to do with. Even established guys like Sheamus, they've dropped the ball with them. Basically, every time I see a new guy, every time I see someone returning, I already know not to get my hopes up, basically. And that's sad. Mustafa Ali. He's not just Ali anymore. He got his first name back. This is unusual. I've never seen this before. Usually, speaking of Cesaro, he used to be Antonio Cesaro. They got rid of his first name. They've gotten rid of a lot of names. Big E for New Day, used to be called Big E Langston. They took that away and made him Big E. They were shortening up names like crazy. So it's surprising to see that Mustafa Ali is actually getting his first name back. And here, this is a match with Drew Gulak. This is a match for 205 Live. Why did they bring Drew Gulak up from 205 Live? So he could do that stuff with Strowman, who, by the way, wasn't even on the show tonight. This was a very boring, dry match. Not a bad match, but there was nothing here. Why is this match happening? Ali is fighting on the side of Hulk Hogan a few weeks ago. We fast forward, and what do we have? We have this guy having a match with Drew Gulak of all people. Sasha Banks and Bayley are in the ring cutting a promo. Guys, I can't sit through any more promos from these two, to tell you the truth. This is getting to the point where these two girls have reached the point of no return. And the fact that this company lets these girls go out there week after week. And I remember when I was getting on the Iconics. But the Iconics actually have a character. I actually warmed up to them. Of course, they're not on TV anymore, but You know, but anyway, these girls, like, they're so bad at what they do. They're given so much promo time, so much time to speak, and they foul it up. You know, Bailey, every single time she comes out there, she's like reading off of a script, basically remembering what was written on a piece of paper to her that she probably said back to herself 1,000 times. You know, Sasha is just, you know, this is a girl where they're trying so hard to like make her look cool. And I'm sorry, every time I look at her, I'm like, this is not a cool person. This is a person that is bad at what they do. She ended a career in the ring. She's the female Seth Rollins. She's totally dislikable. There's nothing to like about her. And I get it, she's a heel, but this thing like that, you know, they don't want, you know, anyone to mess with what, you know, like, they gotta break this team up. This is very bad. They're like relying on each other like during these segments, and they're both bad. They're not complimenting each other at all. You know, like, if one of them is bad, at least you could say like the other one could at least be good, but they're both terrible. And then Lacey Evans comes out. And I'm reading in the comments on YouTube, like, people like this segment. They're like, I like Lacey's character now. What is there to like about this character? I don't get, like, if this girl is a former Marine, you know, you've got a lot going for her. They had her dressing up like in military garb, and now they don't do that anymore. For some reason, they're like, nope, we're not doing that. We're gonna just make her like this Southern belle, you know, and just using all these like Southern cliches. It's bad, and the fact that people like enjoy this, and you look at the ratings, like, this is not a character that should exist in 2019, headed into 2020, and we're doing the Southern Belle. This is like something that you would see in like the 80s. Like this is not current day WWE where we should be getting the edgiest material ever. We should be getting, like, you know, I mean, guys, we're looking at, like, we're in such an advanced world now with so many different options. You know, I just subscribed to Disney Plus. There's so many great things to watch on there. You could be watching The Mandalorian. Even if you've seen it, you could be watching it again, and you could be seeing great character development and storylines. But instead, you're going to sit here and you're going to watch this horrendous promo with Bayley, Sasha Banks, and Lacey Evans, and actually try to pass this off as being good. I don't know what it is. I mean, the people that watch it, you know, people were chanting Lacey Evans. People were getting behind Lacey Evans in this promo. The crowd was. So, I mean, I feel like WWE's going to run with it because all the crowd liked it. But everyone else that's not watching at home, that's not going to be a concern to them. I don't even understand how a chant for Lacey Evans started from this promo. Based off of the words that she was speaking, based off of the promo and the interaction here, it was so bad. It was so amateur hour. The fact that people would be getting a rise out of this, it really speaks volumes. And then she punches Bayley. I believe she punched Bayley. Or maybe she punched Sasha. Whatever she did. You know, but like this whole segment, I'm like, are people really chanting for Lacey off of this? I'm not saying I'm not chant Lacey. I'm not saying that Lacey's not an attractive girl. I'm not saying that Lacey doesn't have credentials where she could be a big star. She definitely looks like something special. I will say that. But, you know, based off of this segment, no one should be liking anybody in this. This whole thing was bad. It was cringe. It was really bad. No one should be really enjoying this or getting a rise from it. You know, I mean, this is something you'd basically turn it off immediately. Daniel Bryan is being interviewed backstage. As he's getting interviewed, you've got Bray popping up on the screen. You've got Huskus, the little pig. Then they start doing the Muscle Man dance, and this was entertaining and everything, but like Bray is saying, to let him in. Huskus says that he wants to see, Bray play with Bryan again, and I don't know where like any of this is like really going. Bryan lost to Bray clean at Survivor Series. Why he would want to have another match with him, it just kind of shows that they have nothing else for the Fiend. So, hey, why not? Let's just have another match at TLC, I guess. Aside from that, the segment is entertaining. It's funny with Huskus and Bray, but this is also an older segment that they did that they haven't done in a while, the Muscle Man dance. Nikki Cross defeated Sonya Deville, and I have to go back to it again. Remember Sonya Deville? Remember when they were doing the whole draft thing and she was supposed to be that wild card, that person that was supposed to impress everybody. And here she is losing to Nikki Cross of all people. Alexa Bliss comes back and this just felt like the most flat return that there could have been. Like, Alexa Bliss is a big star. This is the girl that was, a few years ago, she was, the biggest thing on the WrestleMania card for the women. Once again, we fast forward a few years and Alexa Bliss is making a triumphant return against, basically jobbers, Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose, people that they have no plans for, and, they're going back. Why are Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross a team? At first, it seemed like Alexa Bliss didn't even want to have anything to do with Nikki Cross, that it was going to kind of turn into more of a bullying storyline. And, the one thing that, keeps on, being a real, weird thing is that, they're trying to take everything away from Nikki Cross. They insult this girl's looks. It's almost like they realize that this is not the most attractive girl that they have. So before the match even starts, they have Mandy Rose say, "Oh, you look like a cold plate of Thanksgiving Day leftovers." I noticed they don't do that with any of the other girls, but there's been they've taken shots at the way how Nikki Rose looks. And if you know that she doesn't look good, you probably shouldn't call attention to it, especially if that's not her character. This was also the girl that they had a few weeks ago say, "I think that all women are beautiful." Wasn't she a psychopath a few months ago? Now they completely cooled off that gimmick. That gimmick is gone. But she still has the same theme music with her laughing in it maniacally. And they still have her go "Rah!" during matches like she's going crazy. And, they just described this as her being unique. Or being out there, but they're staying away from saying that she's crazy. I don't get it. Wouldn't it just be better off by, even if you don't have anything for her, just at least let her do her thing and just say, "Oh yeah, she's crazy." Just something to set her apart. But no, she's just a plain girl that screams for no reason because she's unique. It's really odd that they've taken this path with her. It really shows that they let these people go out there and no one is coached or trained or anything by you've got Devon Dudley back there. You've got a bunch of other people and they're not doing anything for them. You've got Triple H and Shawn Michaels and all these different people. You think that maybe they'd be watching the show and saying what's going on here? Why do we have characters that are sort of acting like themselves, but they're not really doing that gimmick anymore? I mean, it's sloppy writing, sloppy television production in every sense of the word. And Alexa Bliss is back, but for how long? This has been ridiculous. I mentioned before about Sasha Banks ending Paige's career. You might be sick of hearing it, but it's a constant reminder. Because here we have another suspect here. Another person that needs to be talked about. Alexa Bliss. How many times has this girl had to take time off to recover from injuries? And they're very quiet about it, if you notice. Where was Alexa Bliss? Where has she been? They said that she needed to get over like injuries. Well, what injury? I've got a feeling it's another concussion or something, similar to it. Something has happened, some type of trauma, because they keep on pulling her out of the ring. I feel like she has one big match at a pay-per-view, and then the very next night, they announce like she's going to be taking some time off. I mean, so what's the story here with her? I mean, it's like they don't want to admit that another wrestler, can't wrestle anymore. That's basically, I think, what it is. So they're trying their hardest to try to keep her in the ring. And I got to say, like, what does this say about them? They don't care. They beat this thing in the courts with the concussion lawsuits. They got that dismissed. And so now we're kind of left with a lot of questions here. They don't seem very concerned. Like, you've got, like, Tommaso Ciampa. I won't call him Tabasco sauce because this is kind of a serious topic here. You've got this guy coming back, like, after a year, after, like, his neck is, like, crushed. And we fast forward, and this guy's taking a big, huge, bump off the top of the cage at War Games. Like no consideration for these people's health, and people don't even remember these big spots, and these people are risking their lives. Alexa Bliss is in there in the elimination chamber getting thrown around, and then we see like a month or two later she's on the shelf. Anyway, let's move on. We've got Elias making a return after months, and all he's doing is just coming in there and blowing up Drake Maverick's spot. Dana Brooke is there, and he's serenading Dana, and he's like kind of just clapping along to his song, like very, comedically and very cartoonish like. So this is a lot. Hey, he hasn't been on Fox yet. Here's one of the most charismatic guys we have in Elias. And this is what you get. This is the showcase of Elias. Hey, everybody. Hey, Fox audience. Here's Elias. Oh, okay. It's like, so that's all he does. They're just going to have him, sing to Dana Brooke on the guitar. I mean, that's basically all we got. Talk about an untriumphant return, if I ever seen one. I mean, what a waste. I mean, here's a guy that on multiple occasions it looks like they were finally going to pull the trigger on Elias. They were finally going to do something meaningful with this guy. And, this is where we're at again. This is like take number 72 for Elias. The guy, the guy's over. People like him. The crowd likes him. They want something to happen with Elias, something good. And, this is what you get. So you're telling me that you've got all this time to do a terrible segment with Bayley, Sasha Banks, and Lacey Evans, but you only got 2 minutes for Elias backstage. When this guy is 10 times more over than any of these, than these people in the ring. Like I said, I don't want to throw Lacey in there with Sasha and Bayley because I feel like she's in a different league. But the promo that she cut, was not good either. But I'm just saying. But here's a guy that's proven that every time he cuts a promo, he does a good job, even with the junk that WWE gives him. I think that he deserves a bit more time than this other hacky stuff that they're showing earlier in the night. New Day issues an open challenge. They defeat Nakamura and Cesaro. Plain, boring match. They've got nothing going here for New Day. Big E is, once again, is just fine. He's not going to be turning on, Kofi, and Kofi is fine with his defeat to Brock Lesnar. We're not addressing any of that. It's pretty sad, that they gave the title. They wasted all that time with Kofi Kingston, tortured everybody for so long with a never-ending reign, and now it's an afterthought. It's something that's not even worth mentioning on TV, according to WWE. Then in the last segment, We've got Daniel Bryan bringing back the yeses. The Fiend comes out from underneath the ring, drags him down underneath, and then we see a bunch of particles like being thrown out of the hole, and it's Bray apparently tearing Bryan's hair out. But the hair looks so fake that I've even seen like better looking fake hair on like a Halloween wig. I mean, honestly, like this looked really bad. So like you're telling me that the Fiend is going after Bryan this whole show. Can't wait to get him in an opportune position, and he gets him in the hole, and he's not gonna like punch him. He's not gonna attack him. Instead, he lets him go, lets the mandible claw go, and he's just gonna tear the guy's hair out. Now, I understand what this is. They're probably going to have Bryan come back. He's going to have his hair cut short. And they're going to, like, chalk this up to the Fiend tearing his hair out. Just come back next week with the haircut. Like, this just looks so stupid. That he drags him into a hole and a bunch of hair just gets thrown, like, out of the hole. Like, this is what the Fiend does. The Fiend is so evil that he's like the worst barber in the world. I mean, is that basically what we're getting out of this? I mean, it's like comical. Can you imagine watching? I always bring this up with somebody who's not used to watching this absolute garbage, or someone who hasn't watched since the Attitude Era or even the Ruthless Aggression Era, and they see this. Like, how do you think that this looks to them? That when they observe this and they look at this, what do you think they see? You think that they're seeing a good, like, cliffhanger ending here? I will credit them with this. It is something to lead into next week. But this is like something that just looks so silly. Like the image of it. Just watching him, like, toss the fake hair onto the canvas. It looked really hokey and really like amateurish. I mean, we're talking about a company that has billions of dollars in the bank, that Fox is paying them to put on, I would presume, a good show. But instead we're getting this. I mean, if this is what I'm saying, if anything, it seems like the show has gotten hokier, it's gotten worse, it's gotten cringier since moving to Fox. And I don't know why that is. Why they, like, Fox, like, are they, okay, I understand that we don't know what's talked about behind closed doors, and the dirt sheets don't know either, obviously, even though they pretend like they do. We gotta be honest, like, there's gotta be a reason why Fox allows this to go on. Why they allow all this horrible crap to be, put out on their channel in a prime time slot. Like, I get it, they've got nothing else to show on a Friday night and all that, but they had the UFC at one point where they didn't have to show this type of garbage. People were actually watching it and enjoying it. Instead, we get like a demented audience that, like, you've got people cheering bad segments, and meanwhile you look at the ratings and they're bad, and people are going to make excuses for why the ratings are bad. They're going to say DVR, streaming it online on the internet. Meanwhile, you've got, like, football and other things that people watch live, and no one wants to address this. I said it time and time again. If this show is truly good, you're going to watch it live. You're not going to wait a day or 2 days. If it was that exciting, and, you would be watching it right there on the spot. Because they do it with other shows. So why conveniently is WWE the exception? Why is that the show? Oh, people can wait to watch it for 3 days. It's so good. So there you go, guys. I mean, like I said, I don't even see a point to this anymore because we're basically getting the same show. Uneventful, boring, no character development. We're throwing a few things here on this show. Sheamus, Alexa Bliss, Elias. They're not going to do anything with them. That they're not going any places with them. They don't really have anything big planned for them. They want you to think that they are. They want you to get excited for these returns. But we've seen this one too many times before. They're gonna come back. They've got nothing for them, and you know the rest speaks for itself. Basically, it's gonna be bad TV, bad storylines, non-existent storylines, and you know it's going from there. You know, WWE on Fox. I already knew it was gonna go this way. I knew we weren't gonna get edgy. I knew we weren't going to get, you know, a sports-like presentation. You know, we weren't going to get any of that. They want to do what they want to do. They're happy with their Saudi money. They're happy with their big Fox deal. I'm just saying though, Fox, if you're paying these people out of a multi-billion-dollar deal, I don't think that this is a fair trade. I would say, to say the least. Anyway, guys, what did you think? Let me know down in the comments down below. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And click the bell so you get no notifications when I post on my new videos. And guys, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.